They blew the house down. You have people cabbage patching in the audience and everything. Now we had a reading of the law, starting Exodus the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Exodus the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of their fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Now let's read Ecclesiastes 12. Verses 13 and 14. Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Mm-hmm. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Now let's go to Revelation 22. Read verses 14 and 15. Revelation 22, verses 14 and 15. Go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
So as we see, the commandments are good from Genesis to Revelation. That's before us and beyond us. The title of, my name is Brother Antoine from the Israel of God, Chicago, or Riverdale. Reading from me is Brother Curtis, also from the Israel of God, Chicago, Riverdale. And the title of today's lesson is Power of the Saints. Power of the Saints. Now, this lesson came about some years ago because my son at the time was about 5 years old. He's like 20-something now. Mm-hmm. But he was like, Dad, will I have powers like, he was watching Spider-Man, like, will I have powers like that? And I'm about to say, son, look, I know you, but this stuff is not real. But I had to stop, like, well, you know what, I can't lie. You will, if you do this. And from then on, that's how he started keeping the commandments, because he wanted power. But he wasn't no different than his father. Because there's only two things I always wanted. That's power and doing whatever I wanted to do. Right? Right? So I wanted power and I wanted to live forever. That was the main two things. I ain't want to die and I wanted to do whatever I felt like it. Right?
Yes,
So as I start digging into this thing, I learned about the power that the Lord gives his saints. But it's also one power that he gives to every man. And every man got a chance to get it. And we're going to get down to that. But first we're going to discover all this stuff that the Lord will do for his saints if you with him. And we're going to show it to you. You're going to take this journey with us and just pay attention and take note, because you're going to come to a point where you're getting tested and you worry. And you're going to have to come back and remember this stuff. But if you didn't take no notes, you probably won't remember nothing. So, but if you did, it may be useful for you. Let's start right away. We're going to start right at the beginning. Genesis 1. Genesis 1 and 26. Genesis 1 and 26. Genesis 1 and 26. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Now, what did he give man? Dominion. Y'all know what dominion means? It means to dominate. I'm giving you power just like me to run it.
Mm-hmm.
He said he made it, and said God made man in his own image, but he said let us make man. So just to do some quick house cleaning, you already know it was the Father and the Son. That was always there. Let us make man in our image. What's that image? He got 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 arms. Just that's the image, not in his kind, but you in his likeness. So you want to know what God looks like? Look in the mirror. He's made in this same image. Mm-hmm. That's why all of us look alike.
That's right.
Not like how people think, but you know,
right.
All men look alike.
That's right.
Male and female. You ready? 27, go ahead.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Both of them, right? Go ahead. Go at 28.
And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
So we got dominion over everything. Why you think you see men telling lions what to do? You don't never see the lion telling man what to do, except when he telling him to run.
Right.
But he ain't communicating that. But you see man taming lions.
That's right.
And we get scared of mice. Right?
Right.
But you see, because you have dominion, you're able to dominate. This brain that God gave man was something awesome, special. That's why he said, if they get together, it won't be nothing that they can't do. But he gave it to male and female. So man think, oh, it's me, it's God made man. It's male and female. You just a female part of man. But this was a together thing. You cannot replenish this earth by yourself.
You cannot.
You needed male and female. This was teamwork.
Yes, sir.
That's how the power came, with teamwork.
Yes, sir.
It didn't come no other way. He didn't say, Adam, you go do it by yourself. He said male and female. Right? So let's keep going. Let's go to Exodus 3 and let's look at this. But in the creation, he had already given you power to dominate. And that's what you were designed to do. Exodus 3. We're going to look at this. We're going to start looking at these examples of man and how the Lord and the power he gave them. But we're going to see something too. Sometimes with this power comes great responsibility. And if you know better, you ain't too quick to take it on.
Right.
Let's go to Exodus 3. Exodus 3. We're going to show you somebody. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Exodus 3, we're going to start at verse 1. Exodus 3 and 1. Go ahead.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed.
Go ahead.
And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see it, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I.
So Moses going around doing his regular daily thing, like we all like to do. Like you just duping around the house. You just, you know. So he doing it and feeding the flock, and the Lord got to get his attention. So he got this bush that's fire, but not burned. Well, we all know this story. Skip on down to verse 10. Go ahead.
Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
So Moses got a, who am I? How can I do this?
Right.
Because the Lord essentially, Moses know where Israel is from the time that he left, right?
Yep.
He been gone 40 years. He left when he was 40. He 80 now.
Yep.
He probably thought, hey, I ain't even got to deal with this no more. But he like, who am I to say this, right?
Right.
Because this job seems like a really big job. Keep going.
And he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God upon this mountain.
Oh, so he said, I'm going to be with you. Don't worry about it, Moses.
Right.
Because Moses like, who am I? How can I do this? Because he know the tall order that he asking. I want you to take a bunch of slaves and bring them out of Egypt. Right? Right. So Moses know, I know that slave mentality, boy. They already done ran me out. But okay, keep going. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers hath sent me unto you. And they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you.
So Moses coming up with hey, so who I'm going to tell, you know they're not going to believe what I got to say.
Right.
So who I'm going to tell that even sent me? He said, you tell him I am that I am. He's doing every little thing to try to get out of this. Because like I said, with power comes great responsibility. He knows what comes with this. He ain't got to be 80 for nothing. Right? He knows what's up. Skip to 16. Go ahead.
Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say unto them, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen that which is done to you in Egypt.
All right. Now I want y'all to just think about this for a second. The Lord just told Moses, go tell the elders in Israel that God appeared unto me. Now, how many of y'all believe that? I know I ain't believe it. Right? So Moses in his mind is thinking, they ain't going for this, Lord. I'm telling you, right? So, but let's skip on to Exodus 4:1, and let's see what happened. Go ahead.
And Moses answered and said, but behold, they will not believe me.
See that? He let them, I know what you're telling me to do, but they not going to believe me, Lord. But he is struggling with this thing. This is something it's a faith thing that's really going on with Moses.
Right.
See, if you want power, it takes faith. But Moses is like, man, they not going to believe me. Go ahead.
Nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Lord hath not appeared unto thee.
See that? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, what is that in thine hand? And he said, a rod. And he said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. And it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it. And it became a rod in his hand.
Now you see that? So why is the Lord doing this with Moses? To increase his faith. To get him to believe. Right? I can't have you showing all my works and my power if you don't believe first. So I got to increase your faith, because I can see right now, you already know. I've probably been the main one, man, the Lord ain't been with you. You telling me the Lord God of your fathers that came and saw you? Right? And you the one that put that dude in the dirt? Remember, I saw that. So Moses is struggling with this thing, like I already know they're not going for it, right? So the Lord take your hand, take that rod out of your hand and turn to a snake, and then you pick it back up and turn to a rod. Right at that, I'm sold.
Right.
But Moses, keep going, go ahead.
That they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
Now you got me. You see how black I am? This come back white. All right, Lord, we
good.
We good. Good, right? Well, he did it. Moses come back, the hand white. Go ahead.
And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land. And the river and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land.
So now, hey, Moses, I understand you struggling with this, but if they won't believe them first two, I'm going to give you another sign. Now you can take that water in that river, you pour it out on dry land, and it'll turn to blood right before their eyes. So just like I told you before, I'm with you. That's where your power lies. It ain't you. It's just like when I used to work for the Environmental Protection Agency, and somebody, they come talking crazy to me, and then I come out and pull out that badge and tell them where I'm from. All of a sudden, they're afraid.
Right.
Now I'm Big Bad Antoine, right? No, it's the EPA that's big and bad. I'm just representing it. But that's the power lies in your faith in God. And that's where Moses is, the Lord is increasing for Moses right now, that I am with you. That's the first thing he told him, I'm going to be with you. Keep going, go ahead.
And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue.
Wait a minute. Now he said I ain't eloquent, right? Now I done went to a whole bunch of schools, y'all. Right? And I don't use the word eloquent.
Right.
Neither do I use the word heretofore.
Right.
So for a person that's not eloquent, he sure used some nice, lengthy words.
Right.
But he said, I got the slow speech and the slow tongue, whatever that is, right? I talk real slow, right? Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord?
Go ahead.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send.
See that? So look, now the Lord done gave him 3 signs at this point, right? Right? And he done said, now he's saying, oh man, I can't speak. He already told you on which, so the Lord said, man, now you talking about you can't speak? Who you think made man's mouth? I know who deaf, who dumb, what they thinking. I know all of this. So who you think you dealing with? Right? So now to the point, so now he said, hey, whoever else you might send, who you gonna send, just send who you gonna send, right? And let's see what happened after that. So the Lord has got you doing something, but you keep on backtracking, like he said, whoever put his hand to the plow and turns back, I will not be with him, right?
Right.
Let's look at, even though Moses didn't turn back, but let's look at what happened when he tried to get out of it again. And we all can understand how would somebody want to get out of something like this. You're going to take an army of people that don't want to listen to you and try to bring them out of Egypt. I can understand the situation, right? Not to the level of Moses, but still, would I want to do it? But read that next verse. When he kept trying to get out of it, what happened? Go ahead.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses.
You see that? The what?
Anger.
The Lord got angry. Hey, it was kindled against Moses. Go ahead.
And he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak
That's
well.
right.
And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart.
I got everything set up. I know your brother can talk. Well, he ain't got no slow tongue problem. This guy got that gift. right? He can mac you down. So he's saying, hey, I already got everything set. Don't worry about nothing. Aaron, your brother is a Levite, and he can speak. Right? So let's keep going. Where we at?
15.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth,
ahead.
and I will be with thy mouth,
Go ahead.
and with his mouth, and will teach you what you shall do.
Go ahead.
And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of God.
You see that? I'm going to put you in my position. The power of the saints. I'm going to put you in my... All you got to do is believe in me. And you ain't even got to worry about what you got to say, because everything you say going to come from me. I'm going to give you all the words, so you ain't even got to write the speech. That's the easiest... Well, like teaching this word, all I got to do is read it. I ain't got to come up with nothing. Sometimes I just copy straight with what Brother Bowie said. Don't do this just like that.
That's safest thing.
Right? So I ain't even got to do that. That's all he telling Moses. Look, and you ain't going to even have to do the talking. I'm going to let Aaron do all the talking. And you going to be like God. Where you telling Aaron what, and he like your prophet going in there and telling the people what to do.
That's right.
All you got to do is believe in me, because I am with you. Let's go to Ezekiel 24. He's showing Moses how to dominate, how to rule. And he sure did it with Pharaoh too. He said he was a god to Pharaoh, because he didn't even have to give Pharaoh no audience. I'm going to send Aaron in there to talk to you. And I'm going to tell Aaron everything to say. Let's keep going though. Let's go to Ezekiel 24. You're going to see sometimes why Moses was concerned. Because when you get this power sometimes, it takes great responsibility. Yeah, you got power, and you turning the river to blood and turning the rod into a snake and all that stuff and all the things you doing. But it takes some huge responsibility. And he probably was thinking about that before he decided to take this on. Let's look at this. Let's look at sometimes how things go down. Ezekiel 24. We're going to start at verse 15. Ezekiel 24 and verse 15. And what it takes when you have this responsibility, it takes a whole lot. You don't get this power for nothing. Ezekiel 24, verse 15. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Also, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, I take away from thee the desire of thine eyes with a stroke.
Go ahead.
Yet neither shalt thou mourn nor weep, neither shall thy tears run down.
See that? He telling Ezekiel, he even giving him mercy by warning. Look, I'm going to take away your desire with a stroke, just like that. And you ain't going to have no time to mourn or weep. And you not going to have time to have no tears run down your face. Go ahead, keep going.
Forbear to cry.
Forbear to cry, go ahead.
Make no mourning for the dead. Bind the tire of thine head upon thee.
Go ahead.
And put on thy shoes upon thy feet, and cover not thy lips, and eat not the bread of men.
Go ahead.
So I spake unto the people in the morning.
And what happened?
And at evening, my wife died.
Go ahead.
And I did in the morning as I was commanded.
You see that? I had to get right back up and do as I was commanded. No time to cry, no time to weep. And that's what it takes sometimes. I seen Brother Bowie do that. Somebody in his family passed away. We had to get right on the road the very next day and go right and teach the gospel. No time to mourn, no time to weep. That's what it takes when you got this power sometimes. So be careful when you're thinking about what you want. Because when it comes to the Lord and he give you this, it requires some responsibility. It requires some level-headedness. It requires doing the job even when it's hard. Even though you're scared, how like Moses was. I don't want to do it. And he came up with the excuse after excuse. It was like Moses had a book. Okay, I'm going to go to this excuse. They're not going to believe that. Oh, okay, I'm going to go to this excuse. Ready?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
keep going. Let's go to John 10. It's a great responsibility that comes with this power. John 10. John 10 and 30. You ready?
Yes, sir.
John 10 and 30. Go ahead.
I and my Father are one.
Go ahead.
Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him.
Uh-huh.
Jesus answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me?
Go ahead.
The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou being a man, makest thyself God.
Didn't he tell Moses that I'm going to make you you're going to be like in the stead of God, and I made you a God to Pharaoh? Look what the Lord is doing. He's setting you up for dominion. So Jesus, they stoning Jesus because he said he's the Son of God. They said, you blaspheming because you saying you the Son of God. But read this. Go ahead.
Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law? I said you are God?
Go ahead.
If he called them gods unto whom the word of God came,
And what?
and the scripture can't be broken.
It cannot be broken. He set you up to dominate. That can't be broken. You got to understand the power that the Lord gave you and what he's looking at your potential to be. Maybe then you wouldn't regulate yourself to these means of doing things that's against him.
Right.
When you know what you really got, you will realize that stuff is nothing. It's just vanity.
That's right.
Because when people doing stuff that's against the Lord, it's like becoming like the beast who just operating off instinct instead of this big brain he gave you when he said, look, it ain't nothing that you couldn't do. So he's saying, hey, the scripture cannot be broken, right?
Yes.
Where we at? 36, go ahead.
Say you of him whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest? Because I said, I am the Son of God?
I am the Son of God. He said, hey, I'm not blaspheming by saying I'm the Son of God, because God even called you God. That's the power. Look at the old potential and what you're supposed to do. But let's keep going. Let's get back to this story about Moses. Exodus 7. He told Moses the same thing. You're going to be in the stead of God. You're going to operate in my stead. Look at that power. That's the same thing like Jesus told the apostles. Hey, whatever you bound is bound. Whatever you loose is loose.
That's right.
You're going to operate in my stead as long as I'm with you.
Right.
But that's what he told Moses. I'm going to be with you. That's the same thing he'll do for you. You ain't no different than Moses if all you got to do is obey. Exodus 7, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what the potential he sees in these group of slaves. Right? Because they was down in slavery in Egypt, right? Exodus 7 and 1. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, see, I made thee a God to Pharaoh.
You see that? I made you a what? A God to Pharaoh, right? You calling the shots. Everything you say happens. Hey, I'm going to shut up all this. You ain't getting no rain. It happens. Who does that? God does that. But he told him, I'm going to be with you. Hey, all these cattle going to die. All this water going to turn to blood. I made you a God to Pharaoh. And guess what? You don't even have to talk to him. You send Aaron in there to do the talking. Right? Go ahead.
And Aaron, thy brother, shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron, thy brother, shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land.
Go ahead.
And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt.
You see that? You don't even have to go talk to him. You send Aaron in there, and he going to do all the talking. And now it's like, man, who this Moses supposed to be? But check something else what the Lord sees in you. Go ahead.
But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth mine armies.
Bring forth thy what?
Armies.
Armies. Plural. He called Israel his armies. They're a bunch of slaves. You see the power that he giving you? He looking at you where you supposed to be. He said, bring mine army. armies out. Go ahead.
And my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgment.
By great judgments. That means I'm going to judge Egypt. And it's going to look like you did it.
Yes, sir.
The way he brought them out, it looked like Israel was the one that defeated them. Because these are my armies. Armies go to war. Armies take care of business. That's how the Lord saw them. And they were a bunch of slaves. So imagine how Moses was thinking. Well, you want me to do what? Take these bunch of slaves that ain't been doing nothing but building bricks without straw and turn them to some armies? That's going to, hold up. That's going to take some work, right? You ready? Let's keep going. We still on this story of Moses. Let's go to Exodus 13. We're going to walk this down. We're going to show you these armies, right? Because he got some other things in here too. All this the Lord will do for his servants. Let's go to Exodus 13. Exodus 13 and 17. You ready?
Yes,
Exodus
sir.
13 and 17. Ready? Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Egypt.
Wait a minute, I thought armies supposed to go to war, don't they?
Yeah.
But he said, this army ain't ready yet. I'm talking about what you're going to be in the future, right? Because they wasn't ready to war yet, right? They were just came from making bricks without straw.
Right.
So he said, hey, look, they going to see war, and they ain't going to be ready to fight. They just came out of a battle of their life, okay? So, but I'm going to bring them out. So keep going. Go ahead.
18. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead. Where we at, 18?
18.
Skip to 21. Go ahead.
And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way.
Go ahead.
And by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, to go by day and night.
So we got more than just an army here. We got us an Air Force too, don't we?
Yes, sir.
You see that? He could a pillar of cloud by day. It was light on Israel's side and dark on the other side. That's one heck of an Air Force. I ain't never seen nothing like it in man. And he running the whole show from that cloud. He got a whole, that's all, look at the power. And guess who doing the directing? Moses. Look at the power he'll give his saints. They're pillar of cloud by day for Israel, pillar of fire by night for Israel. They can see all the time. Go ahead.
He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night.
Go ahead.
From before the people.
From before the people. Let them see all time, all day, like being in Alaska. Day all. 23 hours is all day, right? He didn't take it away. Let's go to Exodus 14 and 19. So you see that Air Force. Now he let Moses control the Air Force. Hey, I got you. I told you I was going to be with you. Ready? Keep going. Exodus 14 and 19. Exodus 14 and 19. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel.
Go ahead.
And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to thee.
Go ahead.
So that the one came not near the other all the night.
You see, so now he got that Air Force working where he got that cloud by day where Israel can see, but it's all night for the enemy. It's all night for Egypt, right? They can't see nothing. And he got this whole thing working. But he's working it by whom? Keep going. Go ahead.
And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
Go ahead.
And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left.
Now you see how he got that going? Look at what's happening, who he got commanding everything. He got Moses commanding everything to the point you telling the waters like God, huh? You telling the waters what to do. He did not move one molecule of that water until Moses put his hand over it. You got to understand when you are saying to God, you know what you are? You are a walking, talking commander. You're supposed to walk in the power of the Lord, and ain't nothing for you. That's what you got to understand. See, they got you fooled out here. They got you thinking you're a walking, talking commander to get all the stuff that you want. Moses didn't do none of these things for himself. He was straight in the land of Midian. He did it all for them because the Lord desired them.
Yes, sir.
All that power, not one iota went for him. That's what people miss when you got this power. They think I ain't never seen one time where a priest or a prophet of God say, house, I got the big one, baby, and walking in. Have you ever seen it?
No, sir.
Don't happen, because it's not for you. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked into the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of the fire and of the cloud and troubled the host of the Egyptians.
You see that Air Force working again, don't he? He just stepped right on in. Go ahead.
And took off their chariot wheels that they drave them heavily. So that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel.
Why?
For the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians.
I'm going to be with you, Moses. It said the Lord fighting for you.
Yes,
this
sir.
Air Force is too powerful. You ain't seen nothing like it. He went in there and took all of the chariot wheels off and killed the whole plan. And keep going. Go ahead. What happened?
And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea.
Now, I got a question here. Why didn't God just bring the waters back? He waited for Moses. He said, Moses, stretch your hand back over, and then I'm going to bring the waters back. He was showing everybody, I got a commander right here in charge. That this is my saint, that this is the one that I'm working with, just like he'll do for you.
Yes, sir.
That's what your prayers are for. He's telling you, I'm with you. I'll be there. I'll take care of it. The Lord is the one doing it. The Air Force is the one working. That rod don't do nothing by itself. I ain't never seen a rod do, oh, man, if I come back to Baton Rouge, I see y'all with a bunch of rods trying to close doors around here, we going to have a problem. It was the Lord that did it. It just told you that, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
It said the Lord did that to the Egyptians. And if the Lord ain't told you nothing, because look, I'm going to be the ones that ain't going to believe you. The Lord, you come talking about, the Lord sent me unto you. Bro, you better go. You better go, man. Keep going, Curtis.
And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them.
Go ahead.
But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea. And the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left.
Go ahead.
Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore.
Who saved them? The Lord did it. But how he do it? By a walking, talking commander who he chose, Moses. He wouldn't make one move until Moses did it. Look at the trust the Lord puts in his saints. He told him, hey, he told Moses, I'm going to tell you whatever to do. So Moses probably sitting there, hey, Moses, man, put the staff back out there to close this up, man. Moses, I ain't going to do nothing, baby. I don't know. But the Lord had to tell him, all right, go, put the stick on. All right, I'm doing it. Because Moses wasn't doing nothing but what he was told. Because that's what the Lord told him, right? The Lord made that clear to him. I ain't going to. Whatever, you going to say whatever I say. And that's how Moses kept it. That's how you do it. That way he keep you from lying, telling people the Lord gave me a message for you. I was praying too. Stop, y'all. Keep going. 31. Go ahead.
And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord.
And who else?
And his servant Moses.
Oh. Remember what Moses' concern was? They not going to believe me.
Yep.
But it said they feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. That's what happens when you got that power. Don't think that they don't fear you. They do. But it's how you use this power. You ready? Let's go to Joshua. Let's look at another situation. Let's go to Joshua 10. Let's show you what the Lord will do for his saints. He'll be there for you. He'll work for you. He'll let you command the whole situation long as it's about his business. Long as you keep it about him and what he's supposed to do, you can do all kind of things. Just like I had to go teach somewhere, and I had set my rental car to another day. And I get there, and I'm seeing how they just turning down people left and right. Now, we ain't got no more cars. We don't have no more cars. I come walk to the lady, ma'am, please. I put my rental the wrong day, and they won't let me change it. Oh, yeah, we got a car for you. You can have that election right there. All right, there we go. I mean, it was like nothing. But it wasn't for me. It was for me to go take care of his business, and wasn't nothing going to stop it.
That's right. Praise the Lord.
But you got to walk in his power and be about him. Joshua 10 and 1. Joshua 10 and 1. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Now it came to pass, when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard now how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king.
Go ahead.
And how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them.
Go ahead.
That they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty.
Okay, so as we just read, what we just heard, that hey, they knew about Israel going in there and just wrecking shop. Now, the ones, remember those armies that was afraid, and they knew they couldn't go, and so they had to go by way of the Red Sea. That's armies now. Remember, it said armies. I would believe that it's 12 of them, okay?
Yes, sir.
Probably each tribe was looked at as an army. So they're coming in and just taking care of business, and fame is getting abroad to them. And they know, oh man, you don't mess with Israel. So it said their people feared greatly, right? But so now Gibeon was in trouble. So skip on down to verse 4. Go ahead.
Come up unto me and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel.
So Gibeon has tricked Joshua and them. They weren't supposed to do this, but that Gibeon had tricked them to make peace with them and to league with them. So these people was finna attack Gibeon because they made peace with Israel. Israel's supposed to take all the land of Canaan, but they got Gibeon got them to get their side. So now the other nations want to attack Gibeon for doing it, right? But they made a league with Israel. Let's skip on down to verse 6. Go ahead.
And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp to Gilgal, saying, slack not thy hand from thy servant. Come up to us quickly and save us and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee.
Go ahead.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night.
Now check this out. The Lord done stepped in. That Air Force done stepped in again and said, hey, don't even fear. Remember, though, this is a war that he shouldn't have even been in. That he made a league who the Lord told, with a nation that the Lord told him not to make a league with.
That's right.
He did it, right? So he shouldn't have been in part of this war.
Right.
Yet, because he kept his word and he was a good servant and a saint of the Lord stepped in and said, hey, don't even worry about them. Go in there and take care of business, right?
Yep.
All right, keep going.
And the Lord discomfited them before Israel.
Who did it?
The Lord.
The Lord did. Go ahead.
And slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Beth Horon, and smote them to Azekah and unto Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died.
You see how that Air Force will work for you? He just stepped in. Joshua ain't even asked him nothing yet. He just, soon as the war started, hey, Josh, I just want to let you know I'm with you. You go ahead and do your thing, but I'm going to do my thing too, right? So now he in there he casting out hailstones. Let's see what happened with these hailstones. Go ahead.
There were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword.
You saw that, and Joshua and them been fighting all night. And the Lord like, you know what? I'm tired. Hailstones, boom, 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 boom. And he make it where it's not hitting Israel, it's hitting only the enemy.
Right.
The power of the saints. You see what the Lord will do for his servants? In a war that he shouldn't have even been in. The Lord still stepped in for him because he was righteous. You see that? So you may have made a mistake in the past. And wonder if the Lord will be with you. Long as you trying to be right, guess what? He'll be with you. Y'all get that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel.
Now check it. The Lord already done did the hailstone thing, right? He already done killed more than Joshua with the hailstones, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies.
So now, wait a minute now. So now the Lord done did the hailstone thing, killed more than them, but Joshua and them not finished. They said, man, it's getting dark. You know what? Sun, stand still, and moon, stop. And you know what you got to do something like that? As this earth is spinning, it got us stirred. At the request of a saint for a war that he had nothing to do with. Look what the Lord did for him. Look how that Air Force kicked in. After he already had killed more. He asked the sun to stop and the moon to stay, and the Lord did it on a dime. And still kept us all on this earth without missing a beat, just to win a war for his saint. And you think that about what the Lord will do for you, and for when you trying to take care of his business. Remember, Joshua ain't even doing this for himself, and in this case, he ain't even doing it for Israel. He doing it for Gibeon. But because he made a league with them, he's doing it. Keep going. Go ahead.
Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
Go ahead.
And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man. For the Lord fought for Israel.
Oh, for the Lord what?
Fought for Israel.
That's what he'll do for you. You want power of the saints, you see all this great power, and that great power came from great responsibility. But you saw some great power, the Lord did it for something he wasn't even supposed to be about. So imagine if you doing righteous, what he'll do for you.
Yes, sir.
Let's keep going though, and we're going to see this again. It happened in a different way. Let's go to 2 Kings 20. Long as you taking care of the Lord's business, just always trust that he'll take care of you. Isn't that what he told Moses? I'm going to be there.
Yep.
I'm going to be right there. And he told Joshua the same thing and proved it. I'm right here. And Joshua took it further because he could have said, man, I already did the hailstone job. I killed more money. You want to go do some more? But yeah, I'll do it. Go ahead. Let's go to 2 Kings 20 and 1. We're going to look at another story. 2 Kings 20 and 1. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. And the prophet Isaiah the son of Amoz came to him and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord, saying, I beseech thee, O Lord, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore.
You saw that? So the Lord told him that. That's a blessing in itself. He came and told him, hey, man, get your house in order. You about to die. And Hezekiah said, he didn't beg for his life. He just said, hey, you know, I walk with true and a perfect heart. What is a perfect heart? I tried to do everything. That don't mean I ain't make no mistakes. But I tried with my mind to be about the word, about the Lord's business all my life. Right? All my days, right? Go ahead.
And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people,
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, the God of David, thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord, and I will add unto thy days 15 years,
Go ahead.
and I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake.
Now look at that. Now, that was more than Hezekiah even asked for, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So he just wept sore. But look, he said, I heard your prayer. It didn't take him no time. He didn't even make it out the court. You know what? Come on back, tell him. People think, oh man, the Lord, it didn't take him no time to hear that prayer. He couldn't even make it out the door good. Send him back, tell him, hey man, you got not only you got 15 more years, all that war you was worried about, during these 15 years, I'm gonna take care of that too. And you know, all the stuff you was worried about, I'm going to defend this city for my name's sake and my servant David's sake, right? Keep going.
And Isaiah said, Take a lump of figs. And they took and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. And Hezekiah said unto Isaiah, What shall be the sign that the Lord will heal me? And that I shall go up into the house of the Lord the third day.
Wait a minute. Now, he just like Moses, right? The Lord already gave you the message. Hey, man, I'm going to heal you. I'm going to be with you. Hey, man, hey, this boil pretty. They done healed the boil, but I know I got all kind of junk going on. Right? And so they took the lump of figs and hit it, put it on the boil. Now, before y'all do something, I do not want to come back to Baton Rouge and people got figs around here talking about that was the Lord doing the healing. Had nothing to do with the figs. I eat figs all the time. Still can catch colds and all that. I had a mini sinus problem on the way here. Okay? It is the Lord that's doing it, all right?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And Isaiah said, This sign shalt thou have of the Lord, that the Lord will do the thing that he hath spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees? And Hezekiah answered, It is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees.
So the Lord even heard him when he asked for the sign, right?
Right.
Because signs are to increase your faith.
Right.
But the person that's already faithful don't need a sign. But sometimes, hey, any servant probably could get some doubt. I don't know. He still was a servant of God, and God was willing to do it for him. But he said, after he done already healed the boy and told him what he was going to do, he still asked for this sign. He said, okay, I'm going to give you one. Do you want it to go, the day to move fast, 10 degrees, or out about 45 minutes or an hour, something like that, or to move back? He said, ain't nothing if it move forward. People ain't going to notice nothing. But if it go back, that's something. Now imagine, just to show his servant that he was going to heal him, his one servant on this big old earth and in this big old universe, he got to stop the spin of the earth and turn it back and keep everybody on it for this one man's prayer.
Yes, sir.
And people say, well, the earth is flat. No, you limiting the power of God. You got to see how powerful he is that the earth that he can still do that and keep everybody on and still go against physics. I ain't limiting his power. I know what he can do. that you know that he can hold those walls up like he did in the Red Sea.
Mm-hmm.
To say that it don't spin, you limiting his power.
Yes, sir.
Because he can do that. Right? Keep going. Go ahead.
And Isaiah the prophet cried unto the Lord, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz. At that time,
No, so that's it. So he said, and Isaiah prophesied, he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord did it just for Hezekiah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the power he giving his saints. That one guy on this big old earth, the Lord gonna move the whole earth for him.
Yes, sir.
Just so his servant could win a war, the Lord gonna stop the whole earth for him. What will he do for you? If you doing something that's about his business.
Praise the Lord.
Now, what you want for your own stuff, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
But when you about taking care of his stuff, look what all he'll go through just to get you to believe him. Let's keep going, though. Let's go to 1 Kings 18.
Yes, sir.
We're going to look at this whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we all get up against it, and we think the whole world is against us.
Yes, we do.
Right? And we see how everybody treating us, and we don't know what to do about it.
That's right.
We're going to show you what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Gird yourself up, and let's look at this.
Yes, sir.
And see what you got to do. 1 Kings 18.
Mm-hmm.
1 Kings 18. You ready?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do verse 1, then we skip into 17. Verse 1 and skip to 17. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth.
So the Lord had told Elijah, stop the rain. You see how the Lord got you having dominion?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just stop the rain. He had his prophet say the rain gonna stop.
That's right.
Just like he did Moses. So now he telling them that he doing it just like Moses. The Lord telling him what to do, and that's what he doing. So now he said, go up to Ahab, tell him it's gonna rain. Because you know, when the rain stop, ain't no crops growing.
Nope.
You ever seen Phoenix? They don't have no grass.
No grass.
Okay? So he said, hey, it's gonna rain. Go tell Ahab it's gonna rain, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Let's go to skip to 17. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, Art thou he that troubleth Israel?
Uh-huh.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Baal.
It's always the ones that's wicked and wrong talking about you troubled Israel because you brought the consequence. But you brought the consequence from the Lord. You're the one troubling Israel with your wickedness, right? Because you won't obey. But because you are serving to God, look at the power you had. The Lord said, hey, stop. Since he ain't going to obey and the people ain't going to obey, stop the rain. You see this power he giving you? Mm-hmm. And that's still small. That's small power. Keep going. Go ahead.
Now, therefore, send and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal, 450, and the prophets of the groves, 400, which eat at Jezebel's table.
Now, that sounds like 850 to me, right?
Right.
Now, I don't know if 400, if that's 400 of them was both, and 50 was just one else, but it was 850 of them, right?
850.
Go ahead.
So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. Mm-hmm. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, How long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
You hear what Elijah is asking them? How long y'all gonna keep playing with this thing?
That's right.
How long you gonna be between two opinions? Oh, I'm gonna go do a little of this, then I'm gonna go do a little of that. I'm gonna serve the Lord over here, then I'm gonna do a little of that. How long you gonna be between two opinions? How long you gonna serve God and serve yourself? Because that's the only reason you go over there.
That's right.
That's the only reason you do all the other stuff you do, because it's about what you want. The other offering is always about what you want. That's the only reason you do it. Oh, Christmas is all right. or going over here doing this other stuff. That's all. Because it's what you want to do.
That's right.
Because if it wasn't what you want to do, you couldn't do it. Satan can't tempt you with a Cadillac and you got a Mercedes.
Right.
Or however you rate them. Right? So it's what you want. Go ahead. So he asking them, how long you going to be between two opinions? Go ahead.
Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I alone only, remain a prophet of the Lord. But Baal's prophets are 450 men.
Go ahead.
Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under it. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under it. And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken.
Okay, so he's setting the deck, right? It's 450 prophets of Balaam and 400 of the grove, right? And he's setting the deck. He said, hey, it's a bunch of y'all, and it's just one of me. Don't you feel like that sometimes? It's a bunch of y'all, it's just one of me. But you call on your God, and I'm going to call on my God. And you lay your bullock together, and I'm going to lay mine. And the Lord who answered by fire, let him be God. And we ain't got to worry about 2 opinions no more.
That's right.
We're going to kill it right now. That's how you draw the line in the sand. Sometimes you got to do that in your own house. Hey, we're going to figure out what God we're going to serve right here today. You call on them, see if he can do this, and we call on it, and we see if we can do that, and we're going to see who's going to do what it is. And I've been in that. My wife's grandmother was about to die. And they done called everybody, and they done said, hey, she about to go. And all the non-believers and all the Sunday people was all out there, and they weeping in the morning, and they called IOGIsrael of God, the church she went to. And Brother Shaq and Brother Norwood and all of them came in there, and said to the people, whoever don't believe, get out. That's right. Went in there and prayed over her, and she popped up. People didn't know what was going on. And you say we can't raise the dead. Who you kidding? What happened to their gods then? And guess what? From there, all her siblings, she went on and died, but all her children, a lot of them done came to this word, and her grandchildren. So you got to see, hey, sometimes you feel like that, you got to stand up when you feel like that. That's the power of the saints. Keep going.
And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves and dress it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awake.
It gotta be something, right? It gotta be, look, but we see this every Sunday.
Yes, sir.
I even saw one preacher who named after money run across altar or something full of money.
Right.
Shaking and cutting themselves, doing all this. Y'all laugh at the witchcraft people for cutting themselves, but you're doing all the other stuff. Crying aloud and honking in people's face, blah, 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 blah. I just spoke into your life and all that. You're doing all of that.
Foolishness.
So he said, hey, cry louder. Hope, I pray that he answer you, right? Come on now. Get it going. Go ahead.
And they cried aloud and cut themselves.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Stop. Hold on. So when Elijah said cry louder, they did it. I'm sorry, I'm getting too loud, y'all. I know I'm messing up the mics. But when he said cry loud, they went on and cried aloud. Go ahead.
And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lances till the blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass when midday was past and they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice.
They did what? Prophesied, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
That means everybody that come in your face talking about they prophecy or got a word from the Lord from you, that don't mean it's the God of this Bible. Before they come, you let them know. You ask them, is this coming out of the Bible? Do you keep the commandments? That's you heard the word of the Lord. You understand what his commandments are. That's how I need to know before you telling me you come from some God. Because if it's coming from that God that don't do that, I don't need to know nothing he talking about. So he said, hey, they prophesied. Sound more like prophet lying, don't it?
Prophet lying.
Or they prophesying something from another God. Right? So they prophesied, go ahead.
That there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that
But
regarded.
it wasn't no voice, nor any to answer. Remember what we asking for. We asking for fire to come down from heaven and burn up the sacrifice. And I wondered, hey, Satan is down with these other gods and stuff, right? He don't want to set him here for us to stumble over. We know he can do this, right? Let's take a look. Let's go to Job. We're going to read 2 verses, 1, 8, and 16. Job, hold your place here. We're coming back, but we're going to go to Job 1. We're going to read verse 8 and verse 16. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Job 1, verse 8 and verse 16. Hold your place, okay? Go ahead. We're going to finish this story. Go ahead. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
You see Job's pedigree? He fears God and eschews evil, just like Hezekiah's, right? Hezekiah said, I've been walking perfect before you, right? Skip to verse 16. Go ahead.
While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
So the Lord was having this conversation with Satan about Job, right? And he allowed Satan to do some things to attack Job. And one of the things Satan did was cause fire to come down from heaven. So why couldn't he cause fire to come down from heaven when we were just reading in 1 Kings? What happened? God is in charge is what happened. He told Satan, don't you vipavop. Don't you move. But he was in charge through his saints. When Elijah set the stage, Satan had to shut up. That's how it works. When you're a servant of God, when you walk in the room, the evil spirit gotta go. You can't be in the same space with me because I'm going to serve God regardless of what you do and what you do to me. It doesn't matter. That's how you got it. You got to it ain't about what they do to you physically. It's about, are you going to let them run here? Or are you going to stay with the commandments of God? Let's keep going. Let's go back to that story. Let's go back to 1 Kings 18. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Verse 30. Ready?
Yes, sir.
So he said, in that evening sacrifice, there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. He didn't let Satan come do his thing and say, hey, blah, 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 blah. He ain't nothing.
Nothing.
No fire, no nothing. Satan had to sit there and be still, right? Because remember, this is about converting the people. This ain't about showing how much power Elijah has. This is about getting these people to stop being between two opinions. Either you're going to serve Baal or Baalim or serve God. Keep going. Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down.
Go ahead.
And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the son of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name.
Go ahead.
And with the stones he built an altar to the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed.
Go ahead.
And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid them on the wood, and said, fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood.
Now check this out. Now, Elijah, he's stacking the deck against himself, ain't he?
Yes, he is.
Now he done built the trench. He didn't ask him to do all that first. He had to build the altar back up. Then he set it up for the Lord. It's about the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm putting every stone in here. I'm doing all this extra stuff. Then not only that, I'm going to have some people fill this trench that I made and all the wood that I put in order with water.
Right.
Right? So he filled it with, how many buckets he say?
4 barrels.
4 barrels of water. They didn't have no water. They sacrificed nice and dry. He said, fill this with 4 barrels of water. Right? Go ahead.
And he said, do it the second
8
time.
barrels, go ahead.
And they did it the second time. And he said, do it the third time.
12 barrels, go ahead.
And they did it the third time. And the water ran round about the altar. And he filled the trench also with water.
He added some more water, filled the trench up. Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word.
At your word. You get it at your word. Just like Moses. Moses wasn't doing nothing on his own. When you got the power of the Lord, you don't do nothing on your own. Like I said before, I ain't never seen the prophets or the apostles go get the big house with this power. Or do something just for themselves with this power. Didn't even heal themselves. At your word. Go ahead.
Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that these people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust.
And what else?
And licked up the water that was in the trench.
All them 12 barrels, it wasn't nothing. How long did it take? Didn't take no time, just like with Hezekiah, right? Isaiah couldn't get out the door. As soon as he prayed, the Lord heard it. He ain't got to cut himself. He ain't got to do no dance. He ain't got to cry loud. His God is listening. That's the power of the saint.
Yes, sir.
Your God gonna listen to you. But we ain't done. Keep going.
And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and they said, the Lord, he is the God.
That's right.
The Lord, he is the God.
Keep going.
And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal. Let not one of them escape.
Go ahead.
And they took them. And Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there.
That's a whole lot of slaying, because remember, it's about 850 of them.
Right.
They weren't playing no games, but he did it to change the heart of the people. Remember, that was one of the original discussions. Hey, how long you gonna be between two opinions? And you gonna have to show that you ain't been between two opinions no more. All these prophets that's turning you around, I want you to kill them right now. They took them and slew them. Go ahead.
And Elijah
Hold
said,
up. Don't y'all do nothing. Because I don't know you. Israel of God don't know you. We ain't never heard of you before. We ain't paying no bills. I told you right now, that was for the Lord. The Lord gave him the voice. Whoever in your ear giving you a voice, it ain't the Lord. Okay? The Lord had Elijah do this thing. Okay? That was not for you. Ain't nobody told you to do nothing. Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there's a sound of abundance of rain.
A sound of abundance of what?
Of rain.
Remember, that was the original thing. He told him, look, go tell Ahab that it's about to be rain. But before it become rain, I need these people to get their faith back in order. Once we take care of that, then we can get back to the rain so y'all can have something to eat. Go ahead.
So Ahab went up to eat and to drink. And Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees and said to his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And he said, go again 7 times.
Why the Lord didn't just send the rain? Look at the power of the saint. He let Elijah bring the rain. But the Lord is the one doing it. But he said, once he went up and did this, then the Lord's doing it. Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, behold, there arises a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand.
Go ahead.
And he said, go up, say unto Ahab.
There go that Air Force again. He said, look up like a man's hand. Now remember, he said, how did Elijah even know to tell this dude 7 times? Because he working with the Lord. The Lord is letting his servant do it because you are a walking, talking commander for his business. Not yours. Go ahead.
Go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel.
And still had all that speed to beat a chariot. Check out the power of the saints.
They like the flash.
Man. I'm telling you, look and pay attention. The Lord will show you all this and give you all this, and this is small.
That's right.
This is small power. We're going to show you the big stuff. Ready? But let's keep going. We got some more other stuff to do. Let's go to Jeremiah 1.
2 Kings.
I'm sorry, 2 Kings 6. Look at this. We done seen the armies. We done seen the Air Force. But we got some other stuff too. The Lord, all this stuff man do, the Lord done it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to 2 Kings 6. 2 Kings 6 and 8. You ready?
Yes, sir.
2 Kings 6. We're going to read verse 8. I'm showing you all these little movies so you can see how the Lord operates. 2 Kings 6 and 8. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Then the king of Syria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down.
Go ahead.
And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once, nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel?
So he like somebody got to be squealing.
Right.
How does king of Israel know where we coming to war against him every time? One of y'all in here telling somebody, one of y'all in here a turncoat, right? But let's see what the servants know better. Sometimes they ain't at power to do nothing, but they already know, man, this man, he don't know nothing that's going on. But he gonna tell them something. Go ahead.
And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber.
Lord, the king, the prophet, know everything that's going on in your bedchamber. That's called a surveillance system, ain't it? The Lord got one heck of a surveillance system. He got them angels laying right there. This what he talking about doing. Go back and tell my prophet what's up.
Right.
And the prophet tell the king, hey, man, get out the way. Because he down there. So he told him what was up. Hey, listen, somehow, man, he know what's going on in your bedchamber. Keep going. Go ahead.
And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither the horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about.
Go ahead.
And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do?
Now, here's what's tripping me out. Why didn't the king of Syria think, if this guy know what's in my bedchamber and he ain't nowhere near my bedchamber, I should leave him alone, right? But he said, you know what? If he think in his mind, if I go and catch him and kill him, that's going to end this. I can go in and knock off Israel. Well, if somebody helping them, you should be thinking twice about that. But that's not how we always think. So he said, I'm going to decide to compass him about, and we're going to go get him, right? And so now Elisha's servant is scared. Yeah. Like, what should we do? They're coming for us, right?
Right.
They's going to get us.
Right.
Go, verse 16, go ahead.
And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
I will be with you.
Yes, sir. That's it.
With God, you always the majority. He said, fear what you afraid of. They that be with us is more than they that be with them.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord is fighting for us. Go ahead.
And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Didn't I tell you it was an Air Force? There it is. It said horses and chariots of fire. That's all those angels that camping around the godly. He said he keep angels around his servants. And they all there protected. And Elisha ain't worried about nothing. So he said, let him see because he don't know. And the Lord allowed them to show themselves to him. Where we at?
18.
Go ahead.
And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria.
So wait a minute. It says he smote the people with blindness by what? By the word of Elisha. The Lord smote all this whole group of horsemen with blindness because his servant requested it. Because I probably would have said, kill him. But that's why the Lord gave the power to him. Right? But smote them with blindness because they just doing what they told to do. They were sent by the king of Syria. They doing what they was told to do. So, hey, smite them with blindness, and he sent them all to Samaria. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when they were coming to Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria.
You see all that power he giving his saints?
Yes,
he
sir.
control. Hey, smite them with blindness, smite the blind. Take the blindness off, take it off. The Lord hearkened to the voice of his servants. That's the same thing he could do for you. Not that you smite nobody with no blindness, but we don't know what might need to happen at any given time. Right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Jeremiah 1. Let's look at this. We bringing you everybody's little story and showing you all these saints with all this power. And how the Lord fought for them. Because they was taking care of his business. None of them asking for stuff for themselves. This guy didn't even ask for nothing for himself. Elisha, he smote him with blindness and took him on another way.
Yes, sir.
And they feared not. Same thing the Lord was telling Moses. Fear not. I'm with you.
Yes, sir.
Don't be afraid. Trust in me. Jeremiah 1:1. Jeremiah 1:1. Then we're going to skip to 4. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The words of Jeremiah, the son of Hezekiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth, in the land of Benjamin.
So Jeremiah, the son of Hezekiah, in the land of Benjamin. Skip to 4. Go ahead.
Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Then said I, Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child.
This sounds similar, don't it? Sound like Moses, don't it? Can't speak, I'm a slow tongue, right? But he said, before you was formed in the belly, I knew you. People don't realize that about Jeremiah. Jeremiah was ordained a prophet when he was in the belly, like John the Baptist was. Because he was a prophet to the nations. That's what he told you. Told Jeremiah, I'm going to give you power over the nations. Go ahead.
But the Lord said unto me, Say not I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak.
Sounds similar again, don't it? You're going to speak whatever I say. Whatever I command you, thou shalt speak. Make you like a God to those people, don't it? Because you speaking the word of God. It ain't you, it's the word and the force that's behind you. The power of the saints. Go ahead.
Be not afraid of their faces.
Oh, go ahead.
For I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord.
Go ahead. What's going to happen?
Then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And the Lord said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in thy mouth.
Go ahead.
See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms.
To do what?
To root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down, to build and to plant.
I let you run it, Jeremiah. Whatever you say is what's going to go. Because you're going to say all that I speak. So whoever going down is going down. Whoever going to root out, going to get rooted out. Whoever going to get destroyed, going to destroy. And anybody want to throw down, we can throw down.
Yes, sir.
The power of the saints. He said, I gave you this day. Oh, I'm setting you over the nations, almost like you a king. But it ain't you that's the king. It's the Lord that you just going to deliver his message. That's the power. His saints said, let's keep going. Let's go to verse 7. Now, see how he set Jeremiah up? Mm-hmm. Jeremiah should be almost untouchable. Boy. Right. You give me some stuff like that, I'm, whoa, don't. Whoever I throw down, throwing down. Whoever destroy. Let's see what it looks like. Because again, with this power comes great responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Go to verse 17. Go ahead.
Thou therefore gird up thy loins and arise, and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces.
So what else?
Lest I confound thee before them.
You be afraid of them, I'm going to confound you before them. You better walk in the power and the spirit of the Lord. Fear the Lord, don't fear them. Jesus told you, fear not those that could do to the body, because there's nothing more that they can do. Right. You better fear the one that could take this body and throw it into the lake of fire. That's who you fear. So he said, hey, if you fear their faces, I'm going to confound you, Jeremiah. Where we at? Keep going.
18. For, behold, I have made thee this day a defense city, and an iron pillar, and brazen walls against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against the princes thereof, against the priests thereof, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to deliver thee.
You see that? I'm with you, Jeremiah. They're going to fight against you, so be prepared for that. They're going to fight against you, but they shall not prevail. I am with you, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's keep going. Let's see what this looks like. Let's go to Jeremiah 20. Because remember, he just told Jeremiah, whatever you throw down, going to be thrown down, and don't be afraid of their face. They will not prevail against you. And whatever you got to do, whatever you say is going to go. I'm giving you over the nation. You're going to root out. You're going to be over kingdoms. You're going to pull down. You're going to destroy. You're going to throw down. You're going to build, and you're going to plant. That sounds like a whole lot of power, don't it?
Yes,
sounds like you're doing whatever you want to do, right? 20 and 1. Jeremiah 20 and 1. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Now Pashur, the son of Immer, the priest, who was also chief governor in the house of the Lord.
Now, wait a minute. I want to point something out real quick again. He told Jeremiah, he said, you a brazen wall and defense city. He said, they shall fight against thee. And he also said, will my mic go out? Okay. He said, against the priests thereof, right? And against the people of the land. All of them going to be against you. They will not prevail. Remember, he said that. The priests too, right? Okay, 20 and 1.
Heard that Jeremiah.
No, start at the beginning.
Now Pashur, the son of Immer, the priest, who was also chief governor in the house of the Lord, heard that Jeremiah prophesied these things. Then Pashur smote Jeremiah the prophet and put him in the stocks that were in the high gate of Benjamin, which was by the house of the Lord.
Wait a minute. Didn't I just read twice? Well, he said he was over the priests and the kingdoms and all that.
Yes, he did.
Now the Pashur, the son of Immer the priest, who's a priest also, smacks Jeremiah in the mouth and put him in the stock. Y'all know what a stock is? Stock when they put you like this. But Jeremiah got power over the nations. And over the kingdoms and all that. Why is he in the stocks? What does this power look like? Go ahead. Keep going.
And it came to pass on the morrow that Pashur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stock. Then said Jeremiah unto him, the Lord hath not called thy name Pashur, but Magor Missabib. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will make thee a terror to thyself and to all thy friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and thine eyes shall behold it. And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall carry them captive into Babylon, and shall slay them with the sword.
Did he say whatever you say gonna go down, gonna go down? Who the kingdoms, you over the kingdoms? So soon as he done got smacked, setting the stock, and after them came to pass the neck, he been sitting there all night. And Pastor the one coming to get him out, you think he'd be like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna.
Right.
Soon he can't get out good enough before he back to the word of the Lord. You know what? Your name ain't Pastor. It's some other long name.
You might go and disappear.
And you a terror to yourself and to everybody around you, and this what's going to happen to Babylon. You fresh out the stock.
Right.
But he told them, don't be afraid of their faces, because I'm with you. So prevailing don't look like you just walking around huffy and puffy and can't nothing physically happen to you. They still can do physical stuff to you.
Yes, sir.
But you at all times, guess what you giving them back? The word of the Lord. The power of the saints. That's what it takes. Let's go to 21:1. Because see, all this is happening to Jeremiah because they're looking at Jeremiah as hurting Israel because he's telling them the truth. Just like they did Elisha. You troubling Israel because I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you you're going to lose this war. You need to back down. But they tell him, no, keep going. So he basically being stoned for quote unquote being unpatriotic.
Right.
But let's go 21:1. Let's see what happened with this pastor again. Ready? Go ahead.
The word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord, when King Zedekiah sent him unto Pashur, the son of Melchiah, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the priest, saying,
Go ahead.
Inquire, I pray thee, of the Lord for us. For Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, maketh war against us. If so be that the Lord will deal with us according to all his wondrous works, that he may go up from us.
So now they're going to Jeremiah trying to get a good word of the Lord. Maybe he'll deliver us from Nebuchadnezzar, right? What verse 3, what it say?
Then said Jeremiah unto them, Thus shall you say to Zedekiah.
And he went, and we ain't going to go read all this, but he went right back to the word of the Lord. I ain't giving you no good word. I don't care how many dungeons you put me in.
Right.
And whatever you do, I'm giving you thus saith the Lord.
Yes, sir.
At all times. At all times. That's what's going to keep you sane. That's what's going to keep you straight. When everybody coming at you and it's 850 to 1, it won't matter. Just like with Elisha and all those people that came against him, all those angels be round about you to protect you. That's why Jeremiah wasn't scared, right? Let's keep going, though. Let's go to Acts 23. Let's look at another situation. Because sometimes you're in a situation and you're thinking what to do. Because maybe no miracle just happened to where the chariot's right there and lead them and you smite them with blinders. I ain't never smoked nobody with blinders before. I don't know what to do.
Right.
Right? Let's look at what you can do. Acts 23. And all this, you see all this power the Lord's given his saints. And all this power is still small stuff. We're going to still small. We're going to keep going. Let's go to Acts 23. Acts 23. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Acts 23:1. Let's look at an apostle. Let's show you this go from the old to the new. Same thing.
Yes, sir.
Acts 23, and if it can go to the old and the new, it can go to you. Right?
Yep.
23:1. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And Paul earnestly beholding the council said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before God until this
You
day.
hear that? What that sound like? Did that sound like Hezekiah? So he's telling this to this council, though, that's out to get him. Everybody was out to kill Paul. He was like a track star. He was always running, right? So he letting look, I done been in all good conscience to this day, y'all. I ain't done nothing wrong. Go ahead.
And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. Then said Paul unto him, God shall smite thee, thou whited wall.
Okay, now wait a minute now. So just like Jeremiah got smacked, Paul just got smacked, right? He smote him in the mouth, and Paul got smart about the Lord gonna smite you, you whited wall. You know what a whited wall is? You know when you call somebody a whited wall, what you calling them? empty hand.
Right.
You ain't got, whitey wall ain't got nothing on it.
Right.
You ain't got nothing in that hand of yours, right? But check it out, because Paul is straight up stud. He doesn't play. But go ahead, keep reading.
For sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law?
Yeah, and he had him dead to rights. You gonna judge me after the law, but you having me smitten contrary to the law. You ain't found nothing wrong with me, but you having me smitten. Just like the other priests had Jeremiah smitten. Contrary to the law. Go ahead.
And they that stood by said, revilest thou God's highest priest?
And they were right too.
Yeah.
Because the Lord told you that next 23. Don't revile your rulers, right? Go ahead.
Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was the high priest, for it is written, thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people.
So Paul backed down. Hey, I didn't know this dude was the high priest. Right? I've been serving the Lord for a long time. I've been paying attention to what y'all been doing, because I know the real high priest is Jesus now, right? So he said, hey man, I didn't know he was the high priest. Go ahead.
But when Paul perceived that the one part were Sadducees and the other Pharisees, he cried out in the council, men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee, of the hope and resurrection of the dead. I am called in question.
Then go ahead.
And when he had said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided.
You see that wisdom the Lord had Paul use? He just used his wisdom like, wait a minute, these Pharisees, Sadducees, I know they get along when it's got one common enemy, but I know some stuff that they don't get along on. So, hey man, I'm a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. I ain't lying. Paul was a Pharisee. Right? And the son of a Pharisee, and the Sadducees didn't believe in the resurrection of the dead. So he say, what has Paul been preaching? Because the Pharisees did believe in the resurrection of the dead.
Right.
But what Paul been preaching? The resurrection of the dead.
Right.
And preaching about Jesus, right? The Pharisees don't like that, but ain't no use to bring that up right now. Right? Let's talk about, I'm preaching the resurrection of the dead, and that's why I'm called in question. The division coming, right? I got them fighting. Go ahead.
For the Sadducees say that there is no resurrection, neither angel nor spirit. But the Pharisees confess both.
Go ahead.
And there arose a great cry, and the scribes that were of the Pharisees' part arose and strove, saying, we find no evil in this man.
They converted to Paul's side. Hey, we ain't got this our brother, man. He a Pharisee. We don't find no evil in him. Go ahead.
But if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him, let us not fight against God.
That's right. So if the Lord's speaking for him, we don't want to fight against God now. Go ahead.
And when there arose a great dissension, the chief captain, fearing lest Paul should have been pulled in pieces of them, commanded the soldiers to go down, take him by force from among them, and to bring him into the castle.
So they had Paul they was about to pull him in pieces. They pull him, no man, he is wrong. No, he ain't wrong. And they go Paul. So the captains and the soldiers had to come down and break all that up. But let's see the whole time who was there. Go ahead.
And the night following, the Lord stood by him and said, be of good cheer, Paul, for as thou hast testified of me in Jerusalem, so must thou bear witness also at Rome.
Oh, so the Lord was watching the whole time. He came on tomorrow. Hey, man, Paul, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Be of good cheer. As you testify me in Jerusalem, I already had you set to go to Rome to testify me. How you going to have somebody set that's about to get killed?
Right.
So the Lord already knew. All you had to do is trust in me, and that's what Paul did.
Yes, sir.
Paul, he said, don't be of good cheer. Don't worry about it. I'm right there. And sometimes it's just like that for you. You think it's about to be over, and the Lord right there.
Yes,
already got you set to go take care of my business. Get on about your business.
Yes, sir.
I was watching, see what you going to do.
Yes, sir.
Were you going to be afraid, or were you going to use this big brain I gave you? And that's what Paul did. Sometimes you got to use this wisdom and know how to use it to continue taking care of the Lord's business. Let's keep going. Let's go to Acts 12. See how the Lord was right there being with you. Because remember, he was just like Hezekiah. Hey, I'm blameless. I ain't done nothing wrong.
Right.
All I'm doing is preaching the gospel.
Right.
Right? I'm trying to walk perfect before you. 12:1. Acts 12:1. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at this. Go ahead.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
So during this time, it's about to be the days of unleavened bread, but he already done killed James, so we know how James died. Herod killed him, right? The brother of John. And all these Israelites, the Jews, got happy when they killed him. So, hey, if I get Peter, the one the Lord, this is that Jesus got right-hand guy. If I get Peter, it's over with, right?
Right.
So he said, hey, I'm going to take Peter, and we're going to kill him too. Go ahead.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Now, it don't say nothing about Israel celebrating Easter, does it? Now, it could be a typo or whatever. They celebrate Easter, though. So maybe on Easter, they felt like we can wait till that's over. I don't know, right? But it ain't saying nothing about that you celebrate Easter or Israel celebrate Easter.
Right.
And we know Easter comes around what time? The Feast of Unleavened Bread. So probably wasn't nothing different than like now, right? So they probably had it as a holiday back then too, not a holy day. Okay?
Right.
Go ahead.
Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him.
So Peter in prison all this time, probably doing their little Easter Sunday. He's still stuck in that prison, right? And he said, and all the church, they praying for him. Right? Go ahead.
And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison.
Go ahead.
And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands.
Look at what happened. The power of the saints. They praying for Peter. Peter just sitting there. He probably thinking, this is over now.
Over. Right.
They got me in these chains. Ain't no getting out of this. Right. Peter ain't even said nothing for himself, according to I ain't read nothing.
Right.
But the church is praying for him. Yes, that angel, the Lord heard it, sent that angel on out of there, took them chains off. Right? Go ahead.
And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself up and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee and follow me.
Go ahead.
And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true, which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a
He's
vision.
thinking he dreaming. You know how it is when something bad that happened to you and you dream that everything all right?
Right.
Right? But he thinking he dreaming, and this is all, and he out of prison. But he like, it's, he thinking he's some type of vision. Go ahead.
When they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened it to them of his own accord.
Go ahead.
And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him.
Go ahead.
And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord has sent his angel, and that delivered me out of the hand of Herod, and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews.
You see that? He said, now I know for a surety the Lord was with me. Those people prayed and got him out of that prison. You see the power that the Lord give his saints? Right there when they sitting there, laying there, he locked in with these soldiers. The angel came, didn't even wake a soldier up. Hey, Peter, get on up. Knock them chains up. Doors just opening up and all that. Now look, I ain't coming to get nobody out of nobody's prison. Unless the Lord directly send me. But in this case, these doors just opening up and getting this righteous man up out of there. Let's keep going. Let's go to John 6.
You don't want 12?
Oh, verse 12. I'm sorry, verse 12.
And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark,
Go ahead.
where many were gathered together praying.
Oh. They praying and doing the same thing just like you saw Elisha do when he sent them out for that rain. You said all the servants of the Lord. You saw Hezekiah do, right? You see them pray to the Lord hear him, and he go out there and do all kind of miracles and works for his saints. Stuff to the point that he stopping the spin on the earth and sending it back. All that for his saints and his servants when you keeping his commandments. Let's go to John 6. But all of that, all of them big time miracles that was done. Let's look at John 6 and 26. Jesus gonna tell you something. Because some people see that. We all see that like, hey, I want that. Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Right?
Right.
I want all of that.
Yep.
I stop the rain, tell it to stop. Shoot, I'm about to go to the store. I need this rain to stop. Right?
Right.
But let's look what Jesus said. John 6 and 26. John 6 and 26. You ready?
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to read 2 verses. 6 and 26. Go ahead.
Jesus answered them and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, you seek me not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled.
He said, you seek me not because you saw the miracles I did. You was hungry, right? Go ahead.
Labor not for the meat which perishes,
go ahead.
but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath God the Father sealed.
He said, labor not for the meat that perishes. Don't labor for this other little stuff. Whatever happened in this life gonna happen in this life sometime. So sometimes you might get caught in the prison and you don't get out. Sometimes you might get caught by the group and you do get hit. Or they kill you or something, but don't labor for this. Labor for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life. That's what you got to keep your focus on. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 14.
Yes, sir.
He said, which the Son of Man shall give unto you, for him hath God the Father sealed. He got all this stuff waiting for you.
Yes, sir.
This everlasting life is what you got to be focused on. But let's go to 1 Corinthians 14. And let's see, you're looking at these miracles and these signs, let's see what they for.
Yes, sir.
1 Corinthians 14 and 20. Because people love miracles and signs. But it's for one thing. It's to increase your faith.
That's right.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
1 Corinthians 14, I'm going to read 2 verses, 23 verses, 20 to 22. 1 Corinthians 14, 20 to 22. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Brethren, be not children in understanding. Howbeit, in malice be you children. But in understanding, be men.
So y'all understand that? He said, don't be children when it comes to the understanding of his word, of God's word. Be children in malice. Don't know a whole lot about malice and wickedness. Know a whole lot about understanding the word of God. Right? So don't be children understanding, and understanding be an adult.
Right.
Grow up and understand it. Put the malice and stuff down with the children.
Yes, sir.
Have little knowledge about that, how to get back. Everybody know how to clap back, but nobody got no understanding of the word.
Right.
Have little understanding about the clapback and have all understanding about this. Go ahead.
In the law it is written, with men of other tongues and other lips shall I speak unto this people. And yet for all that will they not hear me, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
Wherefore tongues are for a sign, not to them that believe, but to them that believe not.
Oh, so these signs are for, the tongues are for a sign, not to them that believe, but to them that believe not. Because when you see something that's a miracle, it helps you believe.
Yes, sir.
So signs are for people that believe not. A person that already riding with the Lord don't need a sign from him.
That's right.
Not saying that some of his servants didn't get signs. I'm just saying when you with it, it ain't a sign that you need. You ready to go. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Like how when Brother Bowie called me to teach, he was the first time he said, hey, I want you to start teaching. I said, I just got one request. He said, wait a minute. I thought you was ready to teach at the drop of a coin. I said, I am. I just wanted to make sure I could still stay on your crew. That's all my only request was. But that's the thing. When you ride, it don't take nothing. At the drop of a coin, you ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
But prophesying serveth not for them that believe not, but for them which believe.
Oh, so prophecy serves not for them that believe not, but to understand prophecy, you got to believe.
Yes, sir.
The ones that's believing is the ones that's able to really put this word forth. It's not for the, and remember, and understanding, you got to be men. You got to be adults. Let's keep going. Let's go to Mark 6. We're going to read 17 to 20. So, because a believer don't need a sign. Some of the Lord's servants never did one miracle. You never seen Jeremiah do one miracle.
That's right.
We're going to look at somebody else that didn't do a miracle either. So let's go to Mark 6. We're going to read 17 to 20. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Mark 6, 17 to 20. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her.
So this is John the Baptist he got, right? So Herod, he got John the Baptist, and he done bound him because his brother Philip's wife Herodias, right? Go ahead.
For John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife.
So he told him the law, just like how Elisha told Ahab the law, right? But he said it ain't lawful. Hey, Herod, ain't lawful to have your your brother's wife. Go ahead.
Therefore Herodias had a quarrel against him and would have killed him, but she could not. For Herod feared John.
What?
Herod feared John.
Herod feared John. I thought John was the one in prison. But Herod feared John because when you got the power of the Lord, they fear you. Because you are a walking, talking commander. Because you know it ain't nothing that they could do to you physically that is worrying you. You still got the answers. They still asking you, can he have it? Herod was asking for John's advice. John wasn't asking for Herod's advice. So if you're the one serving the Lord, they asking you. So what you fearing for? Believe me, they're afraid of you. That's the power of the saints. When they the one in charge, it look like it, but they worried about what you gonna do. Sometimes people try to put an end to people they fear.
Yes, sir.
Check it, restart that from the top again. 20. Go ahead.
For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just man and holy, and observed him. And when he had heard him, he did many things and heard him gladly.
You see that? He said he feared him. Why? Because he was a just man. You don't fear the wicked, you fear the righteous. The wicked only could do the physical. The righteous is the one that's going to be judging you. That's in the spiritual. So he feared John. He took advice from John. But let's show something. Let's go to John 10. We're going to read 2 verses there. Look at all this power John had, and he in prison. The guy who thinking he king over Jerusalem is fearing him. And he's in prison. Same way it was with Jeremiah. He told Jeremiah, you got the power to throw down and root out and to build and to plant. John 10, 40, and 41. You ready?
Yes, sir.
John 10, 40, and 41. Go ahead.
And went away again beyond Jordan into the place where John at first baptized, and there he abode. And many resorted unto him and said, John did no miracle, but all things that John spake of this man were true.
Oh, John did what? No miracles. I told you that power was small. But he said all the things that John spake about Jesus was true. That was all John needed to do. That was his only job, was to recognize who Jesus was and tell you. That was the biggest job of them all, because not knowing who Jesus is was get you salvation.
Yes, sir.
So he helped save the world with that one little job. And he did no miracles. But what did Jesus say about him? Let's go to Luke 7 and 24. Luke 7 and 24. What did Jesus say about this man that did no miracles, but Herod feared him, and everything he spake about Jesus was true?
Yes, sir.
Luke 7 and 24. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Luke 7 and 24. Go ahead.
And when the messengers of John were departed, he began to speak unto the people concerning John. What went you out into the wilderness for to see? A reed shaking with the wind? But what went you out to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they which are gorgeously apparelled and live delicately are in king's court. But what went you out to see? A prophet? Yeah, I say unto you, a much more than a prophet.
So it's Jesus speaking about John and saying, hey, what y'all go out there to see? You wasn't looking at nobody all arrayed in fine linen because this guy had camel's hair on.
Right.
Right? Those people, you looking for those, they in king's court. He said, but what you go out to see a prophet, I'm telling you more than a prophet, more prophet than you think. Because he had the job to pave this way. And his main thing, he had to tell everybody who Christ was so you can get salvation. Right? He was a link in the chain to your salvation. But tell him, let Jesus tell him what it was. Go ahead, Curtis.
This is he of whom it is written, behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee.
Ahead.
For I say unto you, among those that are born of women, that there is not a greater prophet than John the Baptist.
He said there's not a greater prophet than John the Baptist, and he did no miracles. But I told you this stuff was small. Read the last part.
But he that is least in the kingdom of God is greater than he.
You see that? But if you make this thing, you get this salvation, this is what it's all about. You're greater than any man.
Yes, sir.
To have this eternal life is everything.
Yes, sir.
And that's what John linked you to. And John did no miracles. I told you the miracles were small. Jeremiah, who had all the power, did no miracles. They feared John. And he didn't do no miracles. I told you the miracles looked good though, didn't it? When everybody was doing it. But it was really small. Let's keep going. Let's go to Matthew 28:18. One verse. Matthew 28:18. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Not that it's wrong, nothing wrong with doing them, but they are signs sometimes to increase the faith. Elijah had to do those miracles to increase faith. Elisha had to do that to increase their faith.
Right.
When he said, how long y'all gonna be between two opinions? He had to change their mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he had to show them a miracle.
Yeah, he did.
He had to change Moses' mind, so he had to show Moses those miracles. Moses had to change those people's mind, so he had to show them those miracles.
Yes, he did.
But John already believed. He didn't need no miracle. Jeremiah believed already. He didn't need no miracle.
Right.
Right? There ain't nothing wrong with it, because there's something right with it, because it's to help you. But let's go here. Let's go to Matthew 28:18. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. One verse. Verse 18, one verse.
And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
All power is given us. So when Jesus came out of his grave, he had all power. Remember, he said, those in the kingdom are he that is in the kingdom is greater than John the Baptist, right? The least in the kingdom is greater than he, right?
That's right.
Because when you come out of, and when you're in this kingdom, you got all power. Remember the beginning we started with dominion.
Right.
Now you got all power. Let's go to what this power looks like. Let's go to Psalm 149:5. Let's look at what this power looks like, what you're supposed to do with this power. Because now you get all power. You get to dominate like he created you for. I gave you dominion. What does this power look like? What do you do? You ready?
Yes, sir.
149:5. Go ahead.
Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds.
Go ahead.
Let the high praises of God be in their mouth. And a two-edged sword in their hand.
A two-edged sword in their hand. That's that word. Go ahead.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people.
Go ahead.
To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of
Sound
iron.
like everything Jeremiah was doing, supposed to do, right? He said you're going to root up, you're going to pull down, you're going to build, you're going to plant. Go ahead.
To execute upon them the judgment written.
Oh. To execute upon them what?
The judgment written.
The judgment written. Look like you're going to do the same thing he told Moses to do. To execute the judgment written, not what's just something you could come up with. So when you get this power, you're going to execute the judgment written. Go ahead.
This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord.
All the saints get that. The power of the saints. All all of them get that honor to execute the judgment written. I sure like being the executor of the judgment and not the receiver of the judgment. But let's go to one last place to show you the power, that the greatest power that he given all man. Let's go. Deuteronomy 30, the last place, 15 to 19, and we out of here. Deuteronomy 30, 15 to 19. Ready? Deuteronomy 30, 15 to 19. Go ahead.
See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
Go ahead.
And that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Go ahead.
But if thine heart turn away,
If you still got two opinions, if your heart turn away, you still on this. He tell him, I'm setting before you life and death, good and evil, right? I set before you this day life and good, death and evil. You got two choices here, two opinions. So he said, but if thine heart turn away from that life and good, go ahead.
so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve
So
them.
you will not what? Hear what did Moses and all of them have to do to execute the word of the Lord? They had to hear what the Lord said. And they executed exactly. Remember, you're going to execute the judgment written. Go ahead.
I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess
Go
it.
ahead.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
That's the greatest power you have, is to choose. You don't have to do no miracle. You don't have to do nothing else. You got the power to choose. Choose life and live. I thank you for your time. I rest my case.
Oh,